Alrighty then, welcome back to Universe X, and for today's video, we're doing the part 2 follow-up of the roundtable that we had yesterday. A lot of people have already been giving some really good feedback to this one, so I'm very excited to bring this one to your doorstep. We got the same cast and crew because, of course, it's part 2 of part 1, and already I can say I can't wait to do this again. Can't wait to get new blood into the roundtable. You know, bring back some faces that were currently in this one. But I think this is something that we should do more often to be able to set the tone and kind of understand what we all want. But yeah, I can't even hold it in. I'm very, very excited for where this takes the channel in the future. So, with that being said, in the description, you're going to find links to a bunch of things. One, part 1. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. 2, you're going to find links to the official Facebook group, the discussion group for this card game, both valid sources of information, one more announcements and spoilers, one more topics of discussion. You're going to find Universe X, which is my Facebook group for this channel and just kind of my brand in general. I'm posting more and more in there. You're going to find links to the Discord, my page for Dragon Ball gaming, such as Legends, Dokkan, Fighter Z, Xenoverse, all the things, you know. And then you're also going to be able to see links for things like TCGMetalZ, where you can get the hottest metal leader cards. And for the time being, you can always put in the code UNIX, UNIX, to get 10% off your entire order. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed part 2 as much as you enjoyed part 1. It's another lengthy video, but we hit some more things looking forward instead of just looking back at the previous event. So, hope you guys like the content, and if you do like it enough, think about hitting that subscribe button, like the video, turn on notifications so that we can keep this train of content moving. See you on the other side. All right, guys, so we are back for part 2. I hope you guys enjoyed part 1. If you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing with your life? Go in the description, click the link to part 1, get hip, come back, watch this one, sub to the channel, all these things. Love everybody in this. Like, look, we have a couple more topics to get into with this one. Not as meaty as the first one, but I do think there's some things that are going to be really easy to sink your teeth into. So now that we've gotten over most of the Nat stuff in the previous one, I was actually kind of looking more towards 2022. And the first topic on the agenda is coming out of Nat's, coming out of the stream, coming out of all of our playtesting. Are there any specific cards that people feel literally threaten the game's healthy existence going forward after this season? And who wants to lead off?
Can I go first?
Amani kind of quick drew you. I'm sorry.
All right.
Nah, go ahead, man.
Wait, who is that? Who is that? Yo, who is that with the mustache?
Oh yeah, do we need to do? You know, if you need introductions, watch part 1.
Yeah,
and if you didn't like part 1, if you didn't like part 1, I actually don't want you to watch part 2.
I need the views. Don't do that. Don't wait. Don't.
Please watch part 2.
So yeah, I'm on.
I know. Oh, Amani, you going first? You got nothing? You raise your hand.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know Armando is gonna go on about Hatch and how it's broken, but I'm actually gonna talk about Yellow. I think Yellow has really good tools right now, but I think like the one problem card, in my opinion, is Poutine. Like Poutine Slug should not like exist in the game. Like it just auto wins like so many matchups, and then you have like POS to set it up, and POS is at 4, and it's like a free filter. You draw a card, like you rest anything on defense, and then you also have like sets up your riposte. Like Yellow just has everything in my opinion right now, and it's just like I don't know. I could go on about it, but what do you guys think?
We're gonna get back there.
I think Slug's fine. Poutine's got to go. If Bardock goes, Poutine's a better card than Bardock. Like the black Bardock that triggered off red cards critting you.
Yeah.
I think Poutine's a better card than Bardock was. So I've never liked that card. Like it's a deck it's a card you have to run. And yeah, I combined with 4, like either limit Power for Super Saiyan to 1, get rid of Poutine, and I can't believe you stole my thunder by saying I was going to complain about Hatch.
I mean, we'll get to you. Then we'll just save you for the finale because we already know what you're about.
I just think like the fact that you can go like turn 1, if you go first, like turn 1 play Slug, and then like charge an extra card, and then turn 2 charge whatever POS, play Poutine, and sack off for Slug, and then you're already set and you have energy open for riposte. afterwards, like you basically just like took control of the whole game, and you're gonna be in control of that whole game unless, I don't know, they have like removal for slug, which most likely they won't because most decks don't main deck barrier removal. So
I mean, slug and the slug 1-drop or the slug 3-drop is so detrimental. Like, this game is built off of advantage. Like, it cuts off a function of the game that's not even just like some cards plus outside the leader, some cards don't. No, every deck pluses outside the leader. So the fact that one color just has a barrier 3-drop that's just like, nah, homie, like, just stop what you're doing and slow down. Like, just playing Gohan and Nats, the 2 times that Slug was dropping me, like the 1-drop, I immediately prioritized, like went out of my way to combo 2 cards and just Goomba Stomp the crap out of the 1-drop. Like, I went neg 1 in hand just to be like, okay, let me just get that off the field, because it was just so detrimental to me trying to play the game, period. I definitely think the Slug is kind of some garbage.
it's very sticky. It's very sticky, especially with all the tools defensively that yellow has.
It only works if you remember it, though.
Stop.
Facts.
I'm
Stop.
definitely gonna piggyback kind of hard on this concept here. Not necessarily slug, though I do think slug's a thing, but like yellow especially. So anybody that knows me knows that I'm a yellow player. I just play random stuff a lot, but I'm a yellow player at heart. So seeing yellow have a moment where it's on top feels good to me because I'm a yellow player, but I have pretty consistently seen yellow on top, including, let's be honest here, our three national championships have all had yellow as the main root of their decks. Like, every national champion has played yellow in their winning deck in a pretty heavy amount. So like, it always seems to conveniently get on top around the time where it matters the most, and it be like specific cards that are just like dramatically more powerful than cards comparable to it. Like Power of Super Saiyan, for example, I think does a lot for free. Like, there's a lot of text on that card for it to have no cost. It comes out in any battle step, and okay, so maybe it's once per turn, but like, it's so detrimental that one time. There's so much text on it.
Goku 8 too. That's another.
Saiyan
Instincts is a very simple card, right? But it's just a free draw too. Or like Final Flash. Like, these are cards that are like individually not super strong, but like they give yellow the toolbox definition where it has access to everything. But one thing that yellow has always been weak at that it just got was like hard removal, and then it gets that in Turles for like 2 energy. It gets a double strike 20k hard removal that either replaces itself or double removes, and like, it just, at this point, it just feels like there's nothing that it doesn't have.
And to like piggyback off of the piggyback that just happened, it feels really bad when certain colors are starving and yellow is just eating incessantly for no reason. It's like, you can't even draw dead
Red.
yellow. I mean, you're not wrong. You can't even draw dead yellow cards. Like, Turles literally is like, I'm gonna blow up 2 things that are tapped. Okay, well, what if they only have 1 thing? Dang, you're right, man. Let's let it draw instead. I'm like, what? Like, there are no bad situations to draw yellow.
At least it's a 0 or a 1+10.
Nah, don't even give it that. Like, Power of a Super Saiyan single-handedly gives yellow a very strong matchup versus red. Without Power of a Super Saiyan, Divine Presence would get up in red almost the same way it tries to get up in blue. Almost. There are a couple more ways to tap it, but at least you get that first swing. Like, freaking Power of a Super Saiyan, just like, you just look at the card quality and the gap is insane.
It's also a beautiful looking card.
In SPR, yeah.
Ooh, I like the SR more. I'm minority here.
I pulled
Whichever
both.
card
I like them both. I like them both.
Yeah. I just, like, past that counterattack, like, the counterattack is one thing. Nobody's playing one for a counterattack that literally just counters an attack, right? So that's moot. It's just kind of there, but like.
But it comes up. It
Yeah.
comes up, and that's the thing too. It has
It's
like
just there,
too much
bro.
utility.
Like, why does it
At
have-
worst, it's a negate.
right?
At
But
worst,
like
it's a negate.
you could pick any part of the effect past that counterattack, like any part. Just pick any part and just take it off, and the card is immediately more valuable. Like, hey, let's say maybe I want to tap battle cards and not unison cards, or maybe I want to tap battle cards and unison cards. But why also do I have to replace myself? Like, come on, bro. Like, or,
What I think is broken is that you draw first before you tap. There have been times where I've drawn Bergamo off the POS, and then I've tapped something and Bergamoed somebody. straight sack.
Disgusting. Or like make it cost 1. Like it would be like, oh, why does it do so much for free? Right? Why does it do so much for free? That's all I want to see. The baby wants to know why it does so much for free.
So I mean,
Make it so you have to be tapped out instead of you have to have one standing.
I want to hear the goat.
Like-
What does the goat have to say? Because he's been quiet. He's been watching, observing.
So honestly, like, people probably see me talk about it. I don't know. I just think that the game's power creep has just gotten way too crazy, and I've thought this since like, I guess since Draft Box 4, going back to like 2019 that's days. Like, I think that set from set 7, which in my opinion was my favorite format in the entire game, from set 7.5, which is Draft Box 4, to now, like, the power creep has just gotten so crazy that they can't even keep up with a ban list to keep the game balanced. Like we saw so many different decks dominate. I mean, we saw Dark Brawly dominate for a while, which is a deck I personally don't like, but it is what it is. King Piccolo was really annoying to deal with when it was at full power, and it still was doing well, not at full power. I will say that Red is lacking, though. I will say Red is lacking. Red definitely needs some stuff to help it out, but like, you know what I mean? Like it's such a drastic change every set, and I will say Yellow has been on top for the longest. Like, we've seen it, but for some reason, like, just the way Yellow plays is just a really good way to play DBS. It's my favorite way to play DBS. Like, just all the counters, all like disruption, like that's just the game plan I like to play. But in DBS, it works out really well because the game, in my opinion, is very aggressive based as well. So when you play the counter style, it kind of counters the go-to strategy of the game, which is play aggressive. Attacker always wins.
See, I definitely.
But I just think there's so many cards. Like, it's tough for me to pick one thing. But I just think there's so many cards that could deserve a hit.
I can
In yellow
definitely see
specifically, or
In all colors.
colors?
that. I mean,
Even red. I think there's some powerful cards that probably shouldn't be in the game, in my mind, in a much more balanced universe.
Piccolo,
I think
Junior,
if
Unison.
If I had to go into every color, I could find probably 2 cards that I would just not have created.
I mean,
I think yellow has the most, but
You guys think this card is balanced?
no.
No.
That card's not even fair.
That card's almost as unviewable as your face in video 1.
It's robotic riposte, man. I know you saw it.
The
Stop.
moment
trolling.
the moment Riposte was created, I was looking at it and I was just kind of like, the part that annoys me most about this card is that the other Floodgates you can essentially play through. Like, Oceanus is kind of a hard stop later in the game, but if somebody topos you and they just look at their hand, they're sitting at 17 and they have a board, they might just be like, I run it, and then just like continue to push. But like Riposte, like, you get riposted on turn 3, that's just the end of your turn. That thing was baby hatch. And then there are sometimes even on turn 4 and 5 that it's the same way, and it's just kind of like really ignorant. But in my opinion, there's like a lot of cards that just seemed a bit overtuned. Like, I'm gonna be put on a freaking pike for this one, but personally, I don't like Charismatic Villain. Not because I think it's broken, but because I don't like counterplays that get around deflect. Like, why would you make a counterplay that specifically circumvenes the anti-counterplay wording? And I know Charismatic is a good card, but it just seems like why would you do that? I don't like
Yeah, but green is hot butt right now, though.
I mean, yes, green is hot butt right now, but that's not because Charismatic isn't broken up.
Sorry, Monty.
That's because the entire that's because the green is just is not good right now. That has nothing to do with Charismatic not being broken enough. But like, look at Fu Shrouded in Mystery. I think that card is detrimental for the game because it's an easy win button. You get to 6, you win the die roll, and you see that card, and you're like, yes. Like, provided my opponent's not playing blue and has God Sealing online, I will destroy. Like, dude, my games against Icarus at Nats was literally, I can't successfully resolve Divine Presence without getting tapped and Turlist. So I'm going to sit here and add Yamchas and surprise Gohans to my board. And then when I hit turn 6, I'm going to foo you and swing at you 6-7 times. That's literally like the game plan, and that's trash. But at the same time, Yellow is so tuned right now that without foo, you really don't have a mid game versus Yellow unless you were as equally as broken as Yellow is as a whole. So I'm kind of like, I don't know how to feel about foo. I think it's unhealthy, but in this format, I think it kind of stomps on a really unhealthy aspect. But I don't know. Power of a Super Saiyan is definitely top target for me. Like, that card is too much.
I want to spring off your Foo to talk about two things that I hate about Foo. Okay, number one, I've never resolved Foo and lost the game. Okay, that's a card I've never successfully played, and if I didn't successfully play it, then it's my fault because I'm bad. But it's a card that I've never played and not won immediately thereafter.
He's
okay?
strong. The boy's strong.
That's a problem. No, it's a problem. I shouldn't have a card that if I can successfully resolve it, no matter what is in your hand, I win the game. Okay. Number two, Hatchiak.
Yes.
That leader, the permanent floodgate effect, it's way too good. It's fun. Like, he needed something else to temper him, because being able to sit as Hatch, not deck out, and race me to Foo is so unfun. Like, I'm playing Gogeta Zeno, the most aggressive deck in the format, right? I can only attack a few times.
Majin more aggressive.
Manjibu attacks 19.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll give it to you. But the most aggressive meta deck in the format, and I'm playing against Hatch, and it just turns into race to Foo. Game 1, he foos me. Game 2, I foo him. Game 3, he foos me. Like, congrats, you won the dice roll. That's...
Yeah. I get where you guys are coming from. Like, I play blue, so I never actually have these issues. But I can get where you're coming from if you're playing like an aggro deck. Like, that sounds really awful.
Black, red, green. None of them have answers. All yellow can do is rest it. Like, it's just... I mean, unless you're playing a leader with Cold Bloodlust, then good for you. You won the game. But, like, I don't know. I thought the Pan Secret Rare was an amazing card to introduce. I thought that was so balanced for a Secret Rare. Like, I thought that card was a really, really good print. But Foo needs to get banned and Hatch needs to go too, because Hatch just creates an unfun environment where, like, my opponent's either going to stall me, or they're either going to win game 1 and stall me, or they're going to race me to Foo, and I'm just going to have a negative experience either way.
Hatch leader is pretty nasty. Like, learning how to play against Hatch and still misplaying crucially against Bishop, it was still just kind of weird. Like, playing against Hatch and just being like, wow, this is an annoying matchup. And then realizing that Hatch came out when I didn't even play the game, at a point where there weren't unisons. And I'm like, how did people play against this deck? This sounds like cancer. Like, it literally just feels... I can't imagine how you guys did it. Like, that sounds awful.
Because all the decks, like, when Hatch came out, all the decks that were broken had main deck answers to Hatch. Yellow Baby either had a dual attacking leader, or they had the Yellow Baby that turned off leader skills, that negated leader skills. So they could play that, negate the Hatch leader skill, and be like, sweet, I won. And there was so much Yellow Baby at every tournament that Hatch was never making it to top 32 to top 60.
I also think it's the number of defensive black options that are available now for Hatch. For example, like Kai negate to just get rid of, like, you negate an attack and then get rid of a body. So even if you sequence your attacks a certain way, it doesn't matter. It's getting around it. It's just like, it's
Petrification's another one.
Yeah. Demigra, the King Vegeta, the 2-cost one that's like a deadly defender. There's a lot of amazing black defensive options that are bad in every black deck except Hatch, because none of them are successfully defensive. So
that's easy. All right, that's true. So all right, if I'm not mistaken, Foo is at the top of the list. Lots of people think the Foo's kind of trash. Power of Super Saiyan got mentioned a couple of times actually. Riposte.
Say what? People think that Foo is trash?
No, the Foo is trash for the game.
Oh, okay.
All right, and are there any others? I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I agree. I think if you put Foo up there, I wouldn't be opposed. I don't like cards like that. Just win the game if you play them. Obviously, it does have answers, but there's so few and far in between. It's like, just get rid of the card, make a better play experience, and same thing with Hatch. Like, I don't think anybody wants to go to tournament and play against Hatch.
I sure did.
I would say the same thing about. Probably say the same thing about Cell Surge as well. Honestly, like, I definitely think something from Cell Surge. I think all the Surge leaders could go. I think Invoker's another one. Like those two decks. Like, there's some decks that just like objectively just aren't fun to play against. Like,
you just look at the power level and you're like, why'd you guys make this? Like, even if this wasn't broken when you made it, and some of them definitely were, it's like, you can't not see this getting out of hand at some
While we're at it, kill Ribrian, print good green leaders. That's
Wow. First, you gave something they could do. Second, you gave something they refused to do. Now, like, we'll talk about
if you ban Ribrianne, you can make good green leaders. Ribrianne is
how do you make green better without taking away its color identity?
Hey,
wait. If you give me a green leader that discards 1 and draws 2, then I'm laughing. I'm smoking everybody. If I can discard 1, draw 2. Now, you let me discard 1, draw 2 as a green leader and take away Ribrianne, then my deck's balanced.
Don't worry.
Yeah, I think giving mono green leaders Ribrianne's okay, honestly. At least currently. But
they're so,
I mean, I don't know.
so down right now, like, but
Yeah, but that's because the leaders are terrible.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yes. So that being said, before we go into stuff that we are actually just kind of edging on, in everybody's opinion, I'm pretty sure there's going to be unanimous, easy, open shut case. What is better for your play experience? A tight, concise meta, or this everybody tops? I can bring any deck in and have a good time. And yeah, like, which one do you actually? I kind of mocked that one. I'm sorry. Which is better, a concise meta or a open meta?
Neither is just a skill-based format, like a balanced skill-based format where every deck that people are playing that's good, like, it just matters, like, the better player wins the game. Like, that's how it should be. Not like my deck's better than yours. That's just gonna win this game.
I'm on the fence with this one too. I personally don't mind either type of format. Like, each one has its own advantage and disadvantage. But what I really don't like is a format that is defined by like the triangle format, where it's like, okay, well, I win to this deck and I lose to that deck. So there are 32 people in here. We're gonna divide them by 3, and you're gonna roll dice to see if you're gonna run into your auto win, your auto loss, and whatever here. I'm not impartial to it, but like, I hate matchups that feel like they're completely unwinnable because of the deck you sit on. I hate those kind of formats, and then I hate the die roll, where like a deck is significantly more powerful when it goes first than when it goes second. But outside of like those particular things, like, I don't mind a wide open format no more than I mind like a tier 0 format. I don't like playing the tier 0 decks. So if I had to pick one, I prefer the wide.
I don't know. I think that it really depends. Like Miguel, I think, said it best. Like, it's tough to explain, but like, yeah, like, I think all like competitive players would rather have a format where skill decides who wins rather than the deck they choose. And obviously sometimes that's not the case. I think that also when Monty was talking about the triangle format, I think triangle formats are fine as long as the triangle format isn't swayed one way too heavily. Like, as long as they're like 60-40s or like, you know, in that ballpark, like, I think that's fine. Like, we've had plenty of triangle formats where all 3 decks have won different tournaments in the same format. I think that's okay. It's a little skewed when like the triangle is like heavily skewed, like he said, like auto loss, like 80-20 type stuff like that. Like, that's not cool. Because then at that point, it doesn't even really push to a triangle. It pushes more to like a dual deck format, something like that. But I don't know, skill format. I think this Nats format wasn't terrible. I don't think it was great, but I do think at least it gave people the option to play what they wanted. So that, I think that does increase the player experience, but at the same time, maybe not increasing the competitive play experience.
They didn't give me the option to play what I want. I had the default to it.
So I think for one thing I really didn't like about the Nats format, and again, sorry to kind of piggyback on what we spoke about on part 1, but the fact that the meta changed like 3 times prior to the actual Nats date, like between the ban list, the new set being pushed, and then the new time rules, it changed what everybody was playing multiple times and made your prep multiple times. And as someone who's trying to prep for the tournament, I found that very, very frustrating. So I really didn't like that. In terms of like what my preferred format is, I'm kind of like a mix between Miguel and Jordan. Like, my favorite recent format, I liked the Surge Yellow Baby format. That one was good. Except Surge decks were too broken. But
Surge Piccolo, bro.
My favorite recent format was like the King Vegeta, King Piccolo, Mecha Frieza, Dark Broly. That, and I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me, but all those decks had a chance. Like, King Piccolo crapped on Dark Broly. Everything else was kind of pretty close. And I thought that was a really skill-intensive format, depending on like what your matchup was and who you're playing against. So, how your opponent played the matchup. That was probably my favorite format in terms of like, I was like the tier 1 decks were way above the tier 2 decks, but you still had a choice of 4 or 5 different tier 1 decks.
I can sort of agree with that. I think
it wasn't a bad format.
didn't I'm trying to remember. Didn't Mecha get hit and then there's still King Vegeta, Dark Broly, and something else, or was that a thing, or what? I can't remember what got hit.
Mecha got Bergamo to 1, and that's when it leveled out the playable field, the playing field, because Mecha was the best deck, and then Bergamo went to 1. I think it was Sin.
And U9 went to 0. U9 got banned, and then it came back. But yeah, I think once Mecha got hit, that like I mean I liked Mecha as a deck, but like I think when Mecha got hit and the other stuff didn't, like that like made like a weird shift in the format. I didn't like that one. The one prior, if they wouldn't hit Mecha and they would just left it fine, I think that one was alright. But yeah, I didn't like after the Mecha. I like when they fixed it, honestly.
Even if they had like the King Vegeta Blue Baby format was fine to me, but that was only like 2 months because that was in
it was really short.
It wasn't even 2 months. Yeah, it was like weeks because the player base is like, how are you gonna hit Mecha and Dark Broly?
The outcry.
Yeah. How are you not gonna hit King Vegeta and Blue Baby? Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry. Oh, true.
I stand by what I said.
Bro, I'm telling you, I personally played Blue Baby for like a few weeks, and I've made enemies. So, like,
I mean, the deck kind of be doing that at the other end of the table. I'm kind of weird because like my opinion is very much so opposite of how I've been the past 2 years of TCG playing on my experience. I've been very laid back and lax. My practice is up and down, which I'm gonna change next season because I'm actually really freaking pumped. But like, I actually don't mind tier 0 formats. I don't mind triangle formats. I don't mind 2-deck formats. I don't mind if there's 5 decks, 6 decks. As long as my practice and time put in translates into like my records. Like if there's a tier 0 format, but the matchup is intensive, like skill intensive, I like that because the person that puts in the most time and knows the interactions the best and the mirror the best wins. I don't mind if there's 8 decks, but the part where I start getting annoyed is when my side deck feels like I have to leave gaps in my game. Like the moment where I'm just like, these are my 15 cards and I can cover 4 of the top decks plus my natural matchup, but then these 3 decks can just come through. Like I went into the tournament with red and I shouldn't have gone in with red, but I was confident in my Soul Striker matchup, my Cell Surge matchup, my freaking Icarus matchup was uphill, but I felt so much better about it after side, or just winning the die roll because I knew my deck was going to draw food for real. And but like you look at Gogeta Zeno, I had to look at that deck and I'm like, there is no, like if I tune to try to race Gogeta, it's not going to be a real race because their deck is lower to the ground. I might be slightly better versus Cell Surge, but I completely bomb my deck against Icarus and potentially Soul Striker, trying to make these more low to the ground, less impactful but early plays. And I'm like, and that's when it starts getting kind of annoying to me because then you just run into matchups. I feel like even if all the decks are skill intensive, if there's too many decks, you just run into the higher chance of you just losing the moment you sit down at a table. You're just like, well, that's game 1, like, because I have nothing that interacts with Xeno Sin, which isn't meta, but is a very powerful deck that people can run. Good rogue choice. Like, that part annoys me. I actually just kind of like it. I'm okay with as many decks as possible until they start making my choices impossible to choose without making concessions.
I will say one thing about that is, I honestly don't know, even if the format's more closed off, I still don't think like you can ever really solve that problem because there's always going to be people that just bring the deck they want to bring, and I know you're talking about I know you've been on Gohan for a while, and there's just some decks where you can finally tune them. You can have the perfect build and the perfect deck for the format, and like the deck might just not be like good enough. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I honestly don't think there was 8 decks that could win the tournament. That could win Nats. I don't think there's 8 decks that could win Nats. I think there was And Android 16 got second, so that's so crazy how close it got. But it's definitely not on my list. I would say there's probably like 5 decks that, in my mind, could win the tournament, and like one of them did. But like Android 16 definitely put on a show. But that also shows that like sometimes rogue decks can take you there. You know what I mean?
They really can, especially when the rogue deck can feed off of the meta. Like every now and then that does happen. Like I can tell you right now at Gen Con, if I had faced 4 Icarus Gohans instead of 4 Soul Strikers and a SS4 Vegeta, my record would not be remotely the same. Sometimes you just see your matchup and you feed off of it.
I totally agree.
So that being said, people have been kind of putting in their opinions. This one isn't even really a discussion. This is just kind of almost a vote. 2 colors that you think need the most help coming next set.
It's so obvious that if we disagree, I'm just gonna
Amani stressed me out. I don't want to go first anymore.
Wait, what? It has to be red and... Well, I guess I'll go first. It has to be the Christmas colors, right? Red and green.
Yeah, it has to be.
Now, you guys are cracked. It's multicolor, man.
Get out.
It's red.
Sheesh.
It's red, blue, and green, yellow.
Red, yellow. Give red, yellow some good stuff.
Yeah, red, yellow. But the thing is, red, yellow can't get good stuff because that'll break it. Because red, yellow is sitting there waiting, man. Red, yellow is sitting there with a whole pile of good cards that are unplayable right now. Like the counter is nuts, but red, yellow is just sitting there waiting, hiding its time. But
Bro,
I could definitely push multicolor for sure.
We're definitely talking about single colors.
Yeah. Okay. If we're talking about I thought like he meant colors like combinations or whatever. Yeah, it's red, obviously.
Anything but blue yellow. Give anything but blue yellow support. Like I mean, if we're talking multicolor, like I mean, I guess like blue red's alright, but like blue yellow is really the only multicolor that sees like so much play. Like red green's okay. Like red green can be pretty aggressive, but I think every multicolor could get a boost. Blue yellow.
Blue red is a trap.
Yeah, I'm kind of a
blue red is a trap.
It is.
I did tell people. I did tell people that.
So
help,
Miguel,
but
red and green, 2 monocolors that need to be fixed, or you know that button down in the bottom left corner. We need you to click that.
The hang up button. Look, like I'm a little it's bad. Like it's hard to look at a set and realize that they released red and green with 0 playable cards. Like they literally just got picked up and then just put into the trash can. But also, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little afraid of black getting into the spotlight again because they just spoiled a super generic
Amano shakes his head.
Dude, don't even wish that on me.
Well, I mean, dude, I'm already looking at that leader. I want to play him.
So this is, I was gonna say,
dude, I love that character.
Dude, and I was gonna say black needs help, but black's getting help. That new trunk seems so strong.
Dude, you said black needs help, bro. This guy is drawing 2 without swinging. He is.
Yeah, I know.
He's awakening turn. He filters 5 and +3s on awakening turn. He like
that's.
Oh my god!
I'm saying he's getting the help. He's getting the help he needs. That's why I'm happy about it.
I'm so afraid though. Like his unison is like I draw 1 and go up a marker when you play things from the warp, and we have no cards that do that. So I'm like, is Bandai going to give it the Bandai tax and we have to pay obscene costs? And
time transmission G, bro.
Time
transmission G.
All I'm saying is, or are we gonna get some BS like Vegex from the
Get
warp?
your foils. Get your foils now.
Are we gonna get Vegex from the warp? Are we gonna get like, oh my leader just warped something and now it's on the field with crit for no reason? Like I am scared. And then when you combine it with the fact that we got a fair amount of cards in the last set that are gonna just sit in binders. They're currently $2-3 right now, but they're really good. Like the SPR or SR SPR like counter negate, they can also just be paid for 1 for 15. That card's good. The fact that once you're awakened, you can clear, if your opponent doesn't have a barrier, a monster, you can clear an entire board for 3 energy in black. You just
that card's also green. This card sucked.
I mean, look, all I'm saying is that like, normally black doesn't have like defenses like it's supposed to. I mean, if you're playing hatch, you do, but like the fact that next set you literally can, I was like, you can play Fu or Finn and blow up their entire board, and then just pay 1 more energy with your leader and warp something, and you just cleared an entire board minus a unison. So I'm kind of like black may need help, but I'm really afraid that like Bandai tips it into an unhealthy space next set.
They played Finn against me in Nats. The one that blows up everything. I forgot who it was.
It was me.
Oh yes. Right.
He's like, oh yes.
Yeah.
I was the
yes.
one.
All right, so this one's going to be the kind of spacer. This one is the little final topic on part 2. Might be the meatiest topic. Just moving forward, if you guys could ask for like one main aspect of the game to improve, like, and this is going to be like a unique answer per person, I'm assuming, because lots of people want different things out of the game. What would you have like Bandai immediately kind of change, or at least work hard on changing, to help this game's longevity, in your opinion? This could be pricing, this could be competitive structure, this could be card design, this could be... Who wants to start? Because if nobody wants to start, I'll start while you guys are thinking.
So I was gonna joke and say like player attitude, but I'll be honest. This Nats was I think I only went to 4 real life events, and like this Nats I think had the best like player interaction. Like everybody was friendly. Everybody got to meet each other. Like it was, I don't know. I made more friends this Nats than I did at any other event, which is funny because it's the most competitive event. So good on the player base for improving your personalities towards each other, except the guy who put a pen mark on my map. But
Wait, go on your map, dude.
yeah, I know, it's a thing. But in terms of gameplay and game mechanics, one thing I think Bandai can improve is more incentive to 1, play at your locals, and 2, play in regionals. Like, I'm glad they toned down tournament packs, even though they arguably made the tournament packs too terrible, where now it's like it's not even worth my $5 entry. I'll just wait until they're 30 cents on TCG Player. But stuff like deck boxes, swag sleeves, leader sleeves, that stuff should come back as an incentive to play locally, because I think we have to go back to the roots of growing up building up our local player bases before they start dying out.
Completely.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
As Miguel and I were talking about that just so you.
I mean, that's surprising.
Can I not just have an original idea? Like
No.
just
Just
I think
once.
whatever you said, he would have said that just to make sure you felt mised.
Am I wrong, Miguel?
Bro, I'm just trying to think about what I'm gonna say.
All right.
I'm like spacing out.
I mean,
I kind of know. Okay, so I'll just go because I kind of know what I want to say. But like, I definitely think that obviously card design could be a little better. The problem is like there's so many. We talked about it before. There's just so many good cards. It's tough to like have a ban list help the game design wise, and like have like the new sets like casual can't even think of the word, just gradually like get a little better instead of like this huge power creep that we got of past few sets. I think design could be a little bit better or a little bit more balanced out. Tournament wise, everything Armando said was good. Like the local scene needs some more stuff. I also think the tournament pack system is still not great because like there's a lot of locals that can't get stuff. Like my locals doesn't get stuff, and they try all the time. Like maybe we'll get a tournament kit here and there, but that's it. So there's really no way to build a locals at a lot of places, and like that definitely needs to improve. Obviously, we had COVID issues, so I mean, hopefully we get back to a more normal tournament structure. But I do think that obviously we have the regionals. I think we need a tier higher than regional. I think we need like a YCS type event where we have like maybe like
Backyard
4, maybe like maybe like 4 or 5 like Bandai official events where they have like just like a big like a bigger regional, like we had at the beginning of the game. Like like all the regionals were huge, they were hype. We got like 400 plus players, almost every single one. Like we got a bunch of people there. These regionals, like maybe 100, like they were capped this year, but even back then to 2019 we had like the open close thing. Like that was awful. Like we had regionals that didn't even hit 200 players combined with the 2 tournaments because of the way it was structured. I don't know, I just think we need like regionals are fine if they want to do those on an in-store level, capped at like whatever they want, but I think we need something in between that and Nats, because I'll be honest, like I play because I like the game, but outside of Nats there's no real point for me to play anything else.
all right.
That's
so-
just how I feel. Like I feel like that would help a lot of the player base. It gives something, the competitive players, something to compete at and like strive to win.
No, that's
I also
actually
feel like
really high.
piggybacking on that, I feel like a lot of areas like are spoiled in the amount of events that they get. In terms of, like I feel like some areas just get like cucked. And we don't get anything.
Like Florida's.
Yeah, Florida has everything. Like Yeah, it's pretty rough when you can't attend a big event and you want to play the game at a more competitive level, but the best you get is like an in-store regional,
Bandai, if you're listening, piggybacking off of Jordan's like ideas, like if anybody should be, getting little points in for competitive play, it's definitely your first national champion and almost third national champion. Like if we have regionals and then another tournament, I'm just dropping the hat, they should be called Tenkaichi Budokais. Just for that nostalgia factor from those games. I would definitely fly out or drive.
That'll bring players.
To a
Yep.
Tenkaichi
Tenkaichi was
Budokai
lit,
event.
bro.
No YCSs. That's no Grand Prix. That's a Tenkaichi Budokai event. Oof. I'm there. I'm literally there.
Hey man, it sounds lit. Like as long as they're like, more competitive, get more people out there. Like obviously, like I said, COVID was a big thing, but like I think we can start getting after this Nats. I think we can start getting out there, getting some big events, and like the prizes are for Nats are absolutely insane. Like I can't say more about that. They've increased it every year, and it's gotten better and better. And I just think that from the regional level to the Nats level, we have to have something in between there that just gives people a reason to like want to compete, you know what I mean? Because like for me, it's like I don't like the webcams are cool, but I don't enjoy playing them. Like I just don't, and I know it's the same for a lot of people. And
I've never even attended one, man.
outside of like there's obviously other issues that I'm not gonna really discuss right now, but like it's just like I just don't like them. And then on top of that, I just think it would help the game competitively just to have like a higher tier event, not national level, but in between.
Hype up those prizes. Put some Xboxes and some PlayStation 5s up there. People will be in your tournament playing. They will be in your tournament playing. I have actually kind of like two things, but one of them's kind of short. My first one is I'm a stickler on this always, but I think color identity needs to be stressed so much harder. In my opinion, every time a color steps out of its like color identity, the format kind of goes weird. Like yellow was a control color, and the moment you put swap in yellow, it was allowed to do things that yellow should not, while being backed by very unaggro cards like, I don't know, the game's only counter at the time in Storm. You give like right now yellow has destruction. It should not really have a card like Turles in my
But then
opinion.
how do you create new archetypes then in that sense?
But I see, well, so in the beginning of the game, you had all these red punchy cards, but they weren't able to extend the way they were supposed to. So you had to make the right ratios to build decks like Aggro Vegeta in set 1 and set 2. Soul Striker had a whole bunch of utility and some of the better defenses in the game, but it had no removal. So that's why Soul Striker evolved into Green-Blue Soul Striker. If you wanted to take it more control, you could run Tricolor Ginyu. Like, back then, you had to be a lot more concise. Decks didn't build themselves, and colors just didn't do whatever they wanted. Each color had a clear identity, and you had to pick and choose how you wanted to build your deck on a very intimate level in order to get multiple effects. If you want utility and destruction, guess you're playing blue-green, and you have to make that work. It's not just like, oh, we just made a set and a TP card, and you put it all together, and now you're blue doing aggro with Baby Hatch as your secret rare. And I just that part kind of makes me annoid.
Dude.
But they just gave every color though a hatch essentially. Man.
I mean, that's fair, but that like
I think you just described that like perfect. Like honestly, like I think like what you said, like I agree 100%. Like honestly, like I think it's tough to do it at this point just because the way like we already talked about design. They design one card for every color, so it's like tough to like go back on doing that. But like yeah, I agree. I did prefer the game back then. I liked the game a lot more earlier on. I don't think the game is bad now, but I do think that design-wise, the game has gotten kind of lazy. Like every deck almost builds itself. Like there's very few decks that you can actually have like more than 10 to like 15 cards difference. Like you just play the shells and go from there. There's not really much to choose from.
And the second thing that I would really wish, and I know there are some reasons that I can't get onto why this doesn't really happen anymore, but we need dedicated testers. Like we need people that aren't playing or like aren't looking at the cards from an aesthetic point of view, but looking at the cards with the intention of breaking them for the format, because there are just so many cards, archetypes, like almost entire sets as a Sand Showdown, where if you just had a group of competitive people or people with a competitive eye to look at these cards, you'd be like, these don't do anything. Like, why did you even print these cards? Why did you print all of green for this set? And then you'd also have those same people looking over here like, yo, yellow didn't need this. Like, I'm loving it. I'm Mick loving it. But yellow did not need these cards. And just with those groups in play, you're going to be able to make a lot more sets that feel better to the tournament players. And at this point, I think that's who you're most in danger of ticking off right now, because let's be real, it's, as long as it's shiny and it's a hype character, collectors are going to collect. But a collector isn't out here talking about how Power the Super Saiyan is just bodying cards for free while cantripping. They're just like, yo, the card looks good, I got my playset, I don't care anymore. So I feel like just a actual dedicated testing group would help the game live a lot longer and just be a better tournament experience. Like, you won't have Red coming out with a dead and half dead archetype. Well, actually,
better archetypes, dude. That's the thing I really want is better archetypes. Like, I love Red Jiren. It came out, and I got sold. I'm selling it. It's like, it's just not good enough. Like, they release these archetypes that are like good, but they can't really compete with like the top decks.
So
Like,
I the only bit of Chris Spencer that I agree with was that archetypes need to be less, like, sets need to be less archetype focused. I think there's way too many, like, it's like you guys said, where it's like your flex spots are like 10 cards in your deck. Like, that's all you have to be creative, and that includes your negates. So you're gonna run a 4 to 6 negates, and then you got like, what, 4 cards to play around with to like make your deck your own. I agree. And then the only way to change that is to sacrifice your deck's consistency, because each archetype has 10 cards that you need to run a 4 of. Like, I agree. I think archetypes are fine, but like Blue Bojack, that deck's unplayable unless you have 40 archetype cards in your deck.
true.
Jiren, awesome deck. It draws a lot of cards. All the cards are crappy Jirens that don't do anything. Like, whereas like Green Boo is an archetype that's done really well, because you can run as low as like 5 or 6 archetype cards and still do what your deck wants to do.
Cheeks him on, he's just good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think almost like, and again, I don't want to use the Surge term, but like what they did with Surge Goku, their red blue, that was like the appropriate way to do an archetype, where it's like it wasn't entirely necessary, but it was just the best way to run the deck. Or even Surge Cell, right? Surge Cell got like 10 or 15 archetype cards, and you don't even use them anymore. Like, nobody's running that Champ Pack 18. Nobody's running that.
When he says Surge Goku, I just want to clarify. He means Invoke, not
Invoke,
Division.
yes. Not Surge Q, not God Q. I
Mhm.
knew what
Yeah,
you
but-
meant, though.
So you guys you guys are talking about formats where like the decks are just generic cards that are good, but all the cards, like a lot of the cards are different, and it's mostly tech based. Is that what you want?
I want a good
I like-
leader, and then 4 to 8 archetype cards that I need to play in the deck. That's
I like
it.
that. I think
Like, your boss card
Yeah.
should always be tied to like maybe a leader / color or something like that, or maybe just a leader.
Like,
it'd be cool if you
Jor-
could-
That should have been.
Jordan will like this one. Set 7 Toa was a good archetype deck, where you ran like 12 to 18 of your cards were the archetype cards, and the rest was flex and tech.
Because it was
Yeah,
black.
you got to pick and choose what cards you want to run. I do think Icarus is another one. It's nice. Like, you only have to play Higher Dragon, but like you play Higher Dragon sets, like the engine's there. You don't need to, you can run some other like vanilla tech if you want. You don't have to. Like, you're set
Scion and stuff.
or cards. Then it's good cards. But you actually get to pick and choose what cards you want to add to the deck. I think like you could give like 5 competitive players a chance to build Icarus, and they would come up with different lists. Like, I know if I played Icarus, my list would have been a lot different than say Deval's or like Marquise or anything like that. Like, you actually have the choice to make decisions. Same thing with like I don't know. I was gonna say another deck, but not really.
See, I was out to
It's just-
actually exactly what you guys said, because we have multiple examples of that in the format, and I think that having a dedicated testing team really is the only way you can kind of have the game be balanced, because it just doesn't seem like the company is testing their cards. And in the same format, you have per se decks like Xenosen. That is a 100%. It actually encourages you to play only Xeno Shenron cards. And it's like from top to bottom, that's the full deck. And it's okay. It's okay. But then you have a deck like Icarus where it is good card deck. And you can see how out of control it got because there's no cognitive association with cards that came out in this set, the last set, and the last set, and how they get stacked together in terms of interaction. Like, that's what happens when you don't have a dedicated testing team. Nobody's looking to see how, over the course of 4 sets, Riposte, Power of a Super Saiyan, Turles, and like another card is just going to body the, like, it's like, oh, these cards are good. It's not like you're gonna have all of them at hand at any point, and then somebody's like, wait, you remember this set 11 leader that's just chilling? He draws a lot. It's like, well, that's true.
We got 3 sets straight of yellow Android support, and none of the decks are playable. Like, we got 13, 17, and 18. Sorry, you know what? We'll go even farther back. We got Jiro, which was green yellow, and then we got 13, 17, and 18, and Super 17, and none of the decks are seeing any competitive play, despite having like a monstrous suite of archetype cards, because the archetype cards are so locked and so mediocre.
Meanwhile, Sin just got stronger and stronger for each set passed. I mean, like, and that's where you need that eye. Like, I know that they're like, oh, it's cool, I made a Super 17 card. Oh, this is cool, I made a really cool, I don't know, random Dragon Ball Heroes card. But you need people that actually can gauge power levels and actually know how savage certain concepts are in the playing field to be like, if you don't take that whole archetype back to the kitchen this instant and redo it, like, this card don't do enough. You can't base the entire deck off of this combo and then not have deflect or barrier. Like, it's got to have one or the other. Like, you're asking me to sink 4 energy into God Sealing every game, just willy-nilly. Like, stop. Like, it hurts. Like,
bringing up Sin though, is interesting though, because like that's the deck I was gonna bring up. Sin has so many archetype cards that like you actually get to choose what you want to play within the archetype, which is one of the, like, I was gonna say that as one of my other points. It's like Sin is a deck where I've seen people build it and I build it completely different, but like both ways work, and it's just because they have so much. Like, other archetypes don't have that luxury.
Other archetypes have 3 times more cards, like androids, but aren't half as good as Sin just because there's no moderation on how good or bad these cards are. They just get printed, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sin is actually terrifying to sit down against, because you sit down and you're like, am I about to get blitzed? Am I about to get controlled? Or is this guy gonna like, and then you don't even know the first couple turns. Like, until they put a triple strike 30k down on turn 3, you're like, ah, he's trying to kill me right now. Or you're just like, okay, all my effects are getting negated. We're getting mighty close to 6 energy, and I did not go first. This is a bad time. I'm scared. So, like, it's just, that's the most frustrating part about this game. Like, in my opinion, I like opening boxes, but opening up boxes is just less fun when you know that half the stuff is about to go in a bulk bin. And when you have archetype cards that are leader locked and color locked, it just becomes a point where you pull certain things, you're like, oh, Divine Presence, this is a generally good card, but like, look at even set 3, I believe it was. You pulled a Kale, and that card was just a generically good green card, solid. You might have just pulled $30 to $40 depending on who you were around and what was around. Not like pulling a card, it being a good effect, but knowing the leader is dog poo-poo, and it's like a $2 SR out the, oh my god, it hurts. It hurts so bad.
Damn, bro.
I think a lot of that archetype weakness, like that mediocrity, it just comes from like we're 15 sets in, and then some draft box and some other stuff in between, and like cards are just like way back when Jordan said like the power creep is so real that like if cards don't scale to a certain power level, they're completely unplayable in the context of like the other cards. Like for me, I have difficulty playing new secret rares because like set 9 secret rares were just so insane when they first came out, like Cell Zeno, Apex, Smoke Dragon, which is insane when they first came out. Then I went in, set 10 secret rares, which is poop. Then Kai comes out, and then like all the other secret rares are just like these cards are just not comparing it.
Titties are truth, baby.
Right? So like even like right now, like a lot of these decks functioning highly because of a mixture of some new cards and a lot of old cards that are just very powerful cards. And like these new archetypes are coming out brand new designed not to use older cards, designed to do something totally different that may be fun, but is like completely gimmicky and as a result just mediocre. Like, and it doesn't give any space to explore new mechanics or explore new concepts or stuff because it's just not comparing to the old concepts.
It's not good enough. It's like this set, like I want to play Kaba, and then it's just like, why would I play Kaba when I have Soul Striker?
Yeah,
Bandai broke the game with set 10 and 11 because they wanted to like regenerate that hype and get more people into it, which was fine. I get it. But set 10 and 11 were so good that it actually broke the game, and they've just been recovering ever since, right? Like, eventually, I'm confident that we're going to see almost all the cards from those sets get banned. Like, that's why they're reprinting, right? Like, we're 4 sets out after set 11, and they're reprinting set 10 and 11 because the cards are better.
I mean, free counter plays, unisons, free counter. The unisons at that time were pretty much invincible. But, like, unless it was a strong unison, it wasn't worth the investment. So then they print really crazy unisons. Then they print free unison counter plays, free unison counter attacks. And it's like, it's building around this new concept. And, like, their cards, they make the cards so strong that it pushes the previous cards out. And it's like, okay, well, that's a crazy power creep there. But, like, you can't keep that up. Like, you can't.
Konami would beg to differ with you.
Yeah.
Konami just keeps stacking and somehow it just doesn't stop.
That's why.
Like,
Everything's broken.
That's why set 13, 14, and 15 are terrible. It's because Bandai's like, we can't keep this power creep coming. We have to slow it down. And that's why we got like 3 sets of straight mediocre cards.
you're not wrong. Like, they've clearly held a stance. Like, we were complaining about Cell Xeno, and they were straight up like, we will never make a game ender like Cell Xeno again. And people were like, okay. And then they just didn't. And now people are like, wow, these secret rares suck. But, like, at the same time, do you want another Cell Xeno coming out? Like, that card was devastating. And then the archetypes sometimes, again, like, you just need people that can actually play these things, because you look at Helku, great leader, great effect, and I can tell they were hyped making that. They were like, and this plays for free, and this plays for free, and you stack your deck, and this is amazing. And then you get to that point where you just need to be like, okay, but did anybody actually check to see if these free cards did anything? Because I got 4 blockers on board, and I haven't found my double strike, and I'm just sitting here with yellow cards in hand. They're just like, you know, I really didn't get that far. And you're just like, dang nabbit, like, get some people that play the game to help you guys out of this. Like, that's my only thing.
It's such a cool concept too, and like it's also a really fun deck to play, but it's just not good enough.
Yeah, it's too bad. My wish for Bandai, I have 100 of them, I'll be frank.
If Vegeks wasn't nerfed, he'd still be the best leader.
Stop.
Like,
No, but Jax is still really good. I don't care what anybody
I know,
says.
dude. That's the thing. They've just made him as good as other black leaders now. Friggin' 6 sets after he came out. Figure that out. Like, that's poor design.
Nerfs. And like 5 nerfs.
I know
Exactly.
Jordan hated Bajax, but then he played it. He turned to the dark side.
Oh, dude, Vivity is just a frustrating card. I hated that card since it came out. Like, I think I remember coming to like one of the locals in Maryland and like playing, and I played against like Black Boo every round, and I'm like, okay, yeah, he's dead here, and I'll just go in, and they drew 5 cards, and they draw like 3 Bibities, and I'm like, what am I playing? Like, dude, I got so tilted. I'm like, dude, I'm not playing for a while. Like, this is so stupid. Like, and then fast forward a few sets later, Bibity's just like the most broken thing ever, and it's just like facilitated the Vegeks deck obviously really well. But yeah,
I got something I want to talk about. Also, like regarding to like Bandai, I feel like they can do a way better job in their erratas. Like, for example, like Bibity, like not having the way they nerfed it, like pretty much made Majin Buu unplayable. If you just like leader locked it to that deck, it would have been okay, because the deck has like no hand. But then, like, I don't know, that's just how I feel about it. I feel like a lot of the erratas are just like instead just make the cards leader locked. Like if you gave like blue yellow Aegis Bojack to just like Bojack Brigade, like people that want to play those cards, they can play those cards, like you know, and also please the casuals.
Yes, I can kind of agree with that to an extent, for sure.
I don't know. I think they should have banned Bibity, and I think they should just ban. I'm tired of the errata. Like, there's way too many erratas in this game. Just start banning cards.
I'm okay with either or.
Yeah, just deal with it somehow. I think it's super lazy though. Like the way that they errata the cards, it's just lazy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, like if you're just gonna make the card completely unplayable to everybody, and keep it off, but not just put it on the ban list. And like this whole silver bullet thing, and then they ban a card, that gets me out of the way.
Well, that just
They're
shows
doing
you that they thought it was enough of a change because they, no offense, didn't have people testing that could tell you this is not going to fix the problem. And they're like, okay, it didn't fix the problem, let's ban it.
It's never enough. I feel like a monkey can tell you it's not being
What they did, he was like stare.
Does this man sound like a robot to anybody else, or is it just me?
Yeah,
but
a little bit.
All right, ET's phoning home real quick while Miguel's, oh, he's frozen. While Miguel's internet connection is recovering, like much like our format and the power level of our cards. I do want to let everybody know this is going on. This is a pretty long length video at this point, so I was gonna kind of pull it in for the closing after Miguel's done giving his point. Is Miguel still frozen?
He's done now, bro. That's it. Close it out.
I still
You guys hear me?
My wish for Bandai.
I'm ready for the next slide.
Oh man,
I'm
I would just like
kidding.
really quickly for them to say, bro, can they please stop putting paragraphs on their cards for their cards to end up not doing anything? Like, hang on, this card, cutting edge recovery device, is one of my favorite cards in design. It's for text freezer. That freezer is never gonna get played because it's useless. This card has all these words on it, so we can say activate main once per turn.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
I'm
think
back,
that
I'm back.
frees
You
a
guys
top.
hear me?
I think that frees a top Latin American hats. Bro.
That's,
No way,
this
dude,
card-
you're trolling. You're trolling.
This card literally says
That's
activate
wild.
main once per turn. Draw one card. What is all of this text? What is it? Why?
What's the
do
future?
they have more than 16 players?
Stop! All right.
Damn.
So
Bang,
I
bang.
mean, I don't have any closing statements. I actually enjoyed this video. This is really good. I can't wait to edit it and there's a lot of stuff. I'm just excited. But does anybody have closing statements? Miguel might have a statement from last slide if his internet connection.
Nah, I was just talking about I was talking about erratas. I was like, certain erratas were just like too much, like what they did to like KB. Instead, just like they just like
Rip young and
they just made that deck just completely unplayable, and it sucks for the people that invested in that deck because the deck wasn't even that old.
Dude, I was like, well, I'm gonna buy the best deck for Nats, so I had just bought eaten into $200 worth of friggin'
Switching gears.
the Vegeta switching gears. Literally, the card got banned on Thursday, and I got it in the mail on Friday. I was like,
Big
man,
rip.
yeah, this is like justice.
I mean, I had to watch my roommate buy the entire yellow blue Icarus package from another one of my close friends.
No
And
way.
I'm literally sitting here making my video on the ban list. He's at work, and the medium friend, the middle friend, drove over and landed the cards in the mailbox. He's like, deck box in the mailbox, and I'm like, okay. So I bring it in the house because I don't want the cards getting warped. And I'm just looking at most of this deck box on the ban list, and I was like, he bought Violent Rushes. I was just like, jeez.
Damn.
Oh, well, that's just the way it be. You should have seen this coming. But then again, this friend in particular has a really bad habit of not reading the room. Because he was gonna take Dark Broly to Gen Con, and I was like, bro, I don't really think this deck gonna live to Gen Con. Bandai been kind of hinting, I'm like, so if you could play another deck, he's like, why would I play any other deck? It's Dark Broly. Dark Broly's broken. I was like, okay, but if you had to choose another deck, and then lo and behold, before Gen Con, man, guys, I gotta play another deck. Oh, I've been testing with nothing but Dark Broly. I'm like, no, you did this to yourself, dog. He literally did. And the same thing happened for Nats. We were everybody with a brainstem was sitting here I don't think they're not gonna touch Blue Yellow Icarus. And he buys all of Blue Yellow Icarus right before the ban list. I was like, all right. But yeah, it's erratas just hurt because there's so much text in our game that it's weird to see a card and look at it and know that it's objectively not even the same card. Just even look at the Dark Brolys. That's one line of text, and that's a huge change to the card. And then you have certain cards that are just completely different. And I know they have the retro packs, but whatever those packs are. But that's not enough. I feel that they were given out as prizing. Nobody wants that. I don't want a bunch of nerfed cards
Bro.
in my prizing. That crap feels so bad. Non-foil nerfed cards. Either foil those things out and give them out. Honestly, I feel if they're gonna make the errata packs, those should be you can order them off of Bandai's official site. They have the same foiling. So it's oh, if you want these errata packs, you can buy them off of Bandai. They're the same rarity. They'll be cool. But like, don't. I'm not trying to play a tournament for a bunch of non-foil Nerf cards. That's asinine. That's asinine. Just had to put that out there. I don't know why my closing turned into a rant, but that shit. Like the more I talked about it, the more I got pissed off.
Tell him.
I was like, wow, you got 4th place at this event. That's tight. I really needed this Nerf TP Goku Monkey Unison. Thanks. Thanks. I love it. Woo! Sorry.
Oh my.
The spirit took over. So does anybody else have anything to say?
Oh, good.
All right. Well. Sorry.
I'll jump in. Okay. So, number 1, change the errata on Dark Broly. Get rid of his once per turn only awaken. So I'll play that. I'll play that leader again in this. I'll play that leader again in the snap. Okay, that's my closing comment. Number 1. Number 2, Chris, thank you for having us. I had a lot of fun with this discussion. I got to talk to a bunch of really, really genuine, competitive, fun players. These guys are not only are they. Yeah, and with the obviously I wasn't talking about Amani when I said the fun, but they're smart guys. They know a lot about the game, and they're a blast to talk to. So good on you for assembling this like Avengers-esque group chat.
It's been fun. What a sweet man.
Who's Hawkeye? Who's Iron? Wait. Amani's definitely Iron Man. He's kind of.
I'm obviously Hawkeye. I'm obviously Hawkeye.
I'm Doctor Strange.
You're Doctor Strange. You're Doctor Strange. I think Jordan is literally the Hulk. He's like Professor Banner. He's Professor Banner until like the format's cancerous, and then he just pulls out Storm and he just starts like beating people over the head. Like he's definitely all right. Jordan's the Hulk. You're Hawkeye. I've already pegged Amani as Captain. No, wow, Iron Man. That sentence threw me off. I'm editing it out. I'm not gonna edit it out. All right, cool. So Avengers S crew. Thank you, Amani. Thank you. That was nice. I like that. I'm geeking.
Yeah, man. Really appreciate you having me on. Same thing Armando said. You know, it was great being here, talking to you guys, chatting about the game. I do it all the time as is, so just like another day for me. But it was cool to get some different perspectives and talk to some other good players.
Jordan says I talk to better players every day, but you guys are all right.
Jordan hit us and he was like, yeah, I do this all the time, and I'm goated. So I mean, for you guys, it's like a trip to Disney World, but for me, it's just another day in the life.
Oh man,
another day in the office, man. As you can see behind me, literally cards as far as the eye can see.
Oh, that's facts.
Ditto that, man.
I really do
Thanks for
appreciate
having us, bro, man. What he said and more. Like, blessed to be here. It's been fun looking at these cute boys.
This was cool.
Hold up. Put the light back off.
He's got a.
He said, "Cute boys." Click.
I'll see y'all next time.
All the negates. Hold up.
All the negates.
Gosh.
And that would leave Amani. Well.
Quite literally.
Oh, wow. I think you have to end on Miguel turning the light off. Like, it's too good.
Darkness. All right. Well, thank you guys for being on. I am very glad you guys decided this on a. I'm real. I'm gonna be real with everybody. It's not like this was like planned. This was written at work. I asked everybody here the day of, and they all stepped up, made a little time, and put this together. So thank you guys. This is great. I really enjoyed myself, and yeah, I am excited just to be able to talk about the game that we all play and come together collectively and make some pretty good points.
Thanks for having us, man. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Hell yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys the next time you decide to join Universe X, and yeah, see you next time.
Wash your hands.
Oh man, wait.
It's
Omicron is. Damn.
No, I haven't stopped recording yet. Keep talking.
Good. Okay. My actual closing comment.
Oh my god.
Omicron is going to turn next year into another webcam format, so you guys are all playing. You guys are all playing on my turf next.
Oh, stop.
Best believe I'm gonna tape that SDR to my cat.
Keep the boot holster. you won't catch me reaching off screen. My hand will go down. I will bandit Keith that Kai out of my boot.
This is like
He
the
said
sneak
Bandit
peek.
Keith.
All
This
right.
is like the sneak peek after the credits.
Oh my gosh.